CI News. I'm Madhuri Pednekar, your host for the broadcast. I'm a conference producer at CI News. This is the recorded session and will be available on our website, ciunews.co.in, and our CIO News LinkedIn handle. This is an exclusive fireside chat powered by Avaya on transformation through customer experience. Businesses are built by the experience they provide, and every day, millions of are delivered by Avaya. Avaya is shaping what's next for the future of work with innovation and partnership that delivers game changing business benefits. Let's dive in and let me introduce my guest for today, Mr. Chandra Kishore Prasad. He's an executive director at Railtail Corporation India Limited. He's an experienced technocrat, administrator, and professor with a demonstrated history of working in the transportation, trucking, railroad industry. Skilled in signaling and train control system, GSMR, rail transport, data center, IT, and project management. Sir, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. Along with me, we also have Mr. Adarsh Paul. He's an India marketing lead for Avaya and also our moderator for today's session. He's an experienced business marketing specialist with a strong mixture of strategic, analytic, and creative experience and a proven history of working in the IT and telecom industry. With over 20 years of relevant and skill expertise in leadership communication, marketing management, customer acquisition and relationship management, partner management, enterprise software, and channel designing, development, and engagement. Welcome, Adarsh.
Thank you, Madhuri. Thank you, Mr. Prasad. I think you kind of missed the part where Madhuri was talking exemplary things about you, but I would kind of reiterate what Madhuri said. She talked about you being a very experienced professional handling the way the business should be handled. And in a nutshell, she was singing praises about how you've managed the business from a perspective of the business line that is a requirement in current times. Having said that, I know that time is of essence, and thank you very much from your schedule perspective. I'm very eager because this is an interview which kind of gets me very inquisitive about the way, because Railtel is a household name at the end of the day, and everybody knows rail from a perspective of connecting India, the largest public sector entity in the country, but probably the largest land bank owner. But a lot of us know Railtel across as a telecommunication platform which the railways offer across from a perspective of bandwidth and connectivity. It'll be really good if you can give us a 2-minute download on what exactly Railtel is, so that the perspective that comes in across from a perspective of how customer experience plays in your life would really help. So if you could give us a 2-minute download on exactly what Railtel does, and the expanse of Railtel, what exactly is this mammoth organization Railtel doing for the nation and for its citizens? If you can help explain that, we'll probably move into my first actual question. So over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Adarsh, and thank you, Madhuri, for the nice introduction. Actually, in between there was a small glitch. Uh, Thanks for having me for this fireside chat. Railtel is the largest neutral telecom player in the country with around 60,000 kilometers of optical fiber network along the railway network of Indian Railways. We have close to around 30,000 kilometer fiber in the city, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 cities. So close to around 90,000 kilometers of fiber network. Uh, Primarily, Railtel services were tailored towards providing connectivity, internet services. We are an ISP category A. We provide MPLS VPN services. We provide colocation services. And Railtel has a network which where we can deliver very high capacities. For example, you must have heard about the AWS Direct Connect. So AWS all 100G connects are being provided by Railtel, primarily in the south. All 100Gs, multiple of 100Gs between the various data centers to for the enterprises to access the cloud platform of AWS. Uh, Additionally, Railtel has tier 3 uptime certified data centers in Hyderabad and Gurgaon, which recently in 2019 uh, timelines, we deployed a software-defined data center uh, built on modern hyper-converged infrastructure. The entire cloud services We got the empanelment from IT as well as a government community cloud, and from where we're offering cloud services to our customers. As a Adarsh, as you know, that RailTel primarily was into enterprise business, and with uh, in the last 4 5 years, we did partnership with local cable TV operators, the MSOs, and started using the model, the channel model, to offer broadband services to homes and also to MSME customers. We have close to around 5 lakh customers who are using our broadband network, and we are expanding into further tie up with BBNL and other state fiber grid networks. Uh, in fact, in Kerala, we are building a 35,000 kilometers of optical fiber network, where with BEL, RailTel is in partnership, is working on that project, and we have completed the core and the aggregate part. Work is going on to complete the entire thing by December of this year. We have also got deployed one of the largest public Wi-Fi network with partnership with Google, and then through Universal Service Obligation funding, and then through Tata Trust. And we have close to 6,000 plus stations which have public Wi-Fi available today. All these infrastructure we manage from central. We have a central NOC, and then we have our own regional NOCs which supports central NOC in provisioning of services and offering the customer deliveries and handling the customer experience in terms of generating the trouble ticket and resolving those tickets in a as per the SLA terms what we have with the customers, or better, doing it better, always trying to see that. So on the enterprise side, we have got a very good uh, experience with that. And retail side, we are building up. Still, we have to do a lot of ground to cover on that front, because customers are very diverse in the retail side, and that is what we are trying to. Because we have customers like even the students who are studying in colleges have taken connections in their hostels, for example. So that's how the diversity is there in that area. So in the year 2019, I should say that we transformed the RailTel from a telecom company to an ICT company, information communication technology, and providing this service. We offer telepresence as a service for operates using boardroom and other type of meeting rooms, which we have deployed, and we have got interoperable. We provide codecs so that we don't have vendor lock-in, and we try to keep developing those type of interfaces with our partners to support various technologies on that front. So in a we are a services company, and we are providing cloud services, we're providing telepresence service, we provide connectivity, and obviously for telcos we provide co-location because we have our own microwave towers. So on that front, the telcos like Airtel, Jio, and Vodafone, they share capacities or the towers infrastructure to put their 3G and 4G sites, and then radiate from there. And we also provide them bandwidth services so that they can connect their cell sites to their MSC, where the call routing takes place.
Interesting. Absolutely lovely. Which absolutely gets me across down to the perspective of asking my first question, which is, given your diverse customer spectrum, how are you actually managing your customer experience? And please do delve across from a perspective of retail, enterprise, SMB. And while that is one portion of my question, my other part of the question is that how are you actually leveraging the digital channels, which are available across from perspective of customer experience, and how are you actually getting them to drive the customer experience that is required across for your customers? That's my first question. And if you can also dovetail, and I'll come back to that question, or rather I can put across to you on the same line, is that how do you measure CX in your in the terminology of your business? How are you measuring your customer experience, and are you actually, is there, for example, we've got the NPS part of it, or do you have some standards that are there that you're maintaining? As you clearly said that there's a ticket SLA. So those SLAs are defined across into a metric. So those are two parts of my questions. How are you using digital channels to manage your customer experience, and how do you actually measure your CX? Over to you, Prasad.
Yeah. For customer experience, as I told you, since predominantly we had enterprise customers. So in the enterprise customer side, we sign SLAs with the enterprises, and we maintain those SLAs, and we have a proper or a mature system doing that activity. So monthly reports we submit to them on the delivery part, on the various performance metrics what we sign as part of the SLA. Retail customers, it's relatively new, and though we have a CRM portal, but we are able to track our partners, the access network providers who are actually finally reaching the end customer. We are able to use survey forms. We are able to use the CRM for doing that. But still, a lot of things are required to be done on the end user part, because today end users are usually they write mails to us, and they escalate the issues directly at the highest level. So there we are still working on, is a work in progress. Definitely we use a CSAT for measuring the CX using basically our survey forms and taking various feedbacks processes which we have in our systems. But these are we have to integrate all this. They're all different systems. They're all disparate systems. We have to still work. As I said, it is work in progress, and we have to integrate across various channels. We are using social media channels for the digital platform. We use LinkedIn, Facebook, and other channels. WhatsApp also we are using, and we also have our 1-800 voice calls also. So we have given various multi-channel type of flexibility to the customer so that they can quickly reach through various whatever is a convenient form for them to reach the service provider or the right person in that particular state or in that particular district where we are providing the services.
Interesting. That kind of sheds a lot of thought across on the way you're managing your customer experience. The other question that I have is that you mentioned AWS, but as an organization, while I understand that you leverage or you work across with all of these guys, what is your thought across on migration onto cloud? Do you think this thing that cloud is the way forward across from the perspective of an organization as large as yours, and also one who works across in the cloud space as thoroughly as you? So what are your thoughts across on the migration to cloud storyline from a perspective of your business? That's one. And of course, uh, from a perspective of you being a public sector enterprise, how does that let you leverage the cloud part of it as an individual, as an organization? If you could probably give your share your perspective on that, that'll help.
Yeah, cloud is the core actually for us for any digital transformation initiatives. What we are doing in our organization, we, as I said, that we deployed cloud technologies in 2019-20 timelines, and it's totally on a software-defined or infrastructure as a code. We offer infra structure as a service. We offer PaaS as a service, and currently we are also working on providing some SaaS services, especially on the blended learning side. So we have deployed a learning management system, which is currently being used by some of the railway institutions for training, online training, and we have also integrated WebEx with that platform, so that you can have virtual classroom as well as the instructor-led training, which can be offered to for various technologies, like maybe for the rolling stock, for the civil infrastructure, for other railway systems like traction, power distribution, and signaling and telecom and stuff like that. So one is that area. Definitely, our customers who had co-located with us at the end of their the life cycle of the technology, like 5 years to 6 years. Now they are migrating to our cloud infrastructure, which we have deployed 2 years back. So we had Polo customers like PAN card customer, PAN card providers, healthcare service providers who are using our data center as a colo have now migrated to our cloud infrastructure. So we did that migration activity in 2021. We have been doing multiple migrations, and all my team basically is busy with in that activity. One is the old applications which are there in a virtualized environment that we are migrating to cloud. Then some of the monolithic applications which were on a virtualized infrastructure, we are migrating to cloud to get the benefit of scale, lift and shift we are doing. And our managed services customers or colo customers also, we are migrating them to the cloud. So the trend is towards cloud because of the different advantages. Definitely, there's a requirement for data localization for the PSUs, and the data has to be within the shores of the country. That is one important part. Second is security is extremely important. And what you're doing with the data is very important, because once you go to public cloud, again, getting back the data and those things are always a concern for especially sensitive data. So, and with the rising concerns about data privacy, data protection, it becomes extremely important that you give the task to professionals rather than each organization doing running their own servers, their own buying various type of security solutions, point-in-time solutions, and stuff like that. And then the complexity to handle is huge. So for the customer, definitely going to the cloud actually makes his life simple. Definitely, it is driven by SLAs, and at the same time, we are able to offer the customers the scale where they can auto scale or dynamic resources can be scheduled for their requirements, and they don't have to really look for new infrastructure, buying new hardware and things like that to meet their growing demand. In fact, for healthcare, for example, for ESIS and all, there was a lot of traffic and a lot of capacity was required, which we are able to scale due to our cloud infrastructure in place.
Interesting. So what you're saying is that finally and primarily cloud's the way to go forward for the world as well as for RailTel. That gets me across down to my next one, sir. You mentioned the fact this thing that you're using multiple platform from a customer touchpoint perspective. You're actually working across and multiple channels, working across through Facebook, LinkedIn, and WhatsApp. How important is to map your customer's journey? For example, if Adarsh Call reaches out to RailTel that my FTX is not working across through 4 different channels, how do you kind of map that up that this is the same Adarsh Call doing a complaint across through 4 different channels? That's point number one. And second point is this thing that are you actually backing it up with analytics and AI to finally get that Adarsh Call is an irate customer, and therefore, it's being mapped across down to Mr. CK Prasad when he looks at a single dashboard. So all of that integration, has that happened across from a perspective of your customer journey, or are you working towards it? And what are the plans across for this? And finally, if RailTel in the next 1 year, and you've just said this thing that your customer advocacy programs have started around 2019-20, in the next 1 year, what's the picture that it looks like across for you from a perspective of customer experience on multiple touch points that a customer might have with your organization?
Yeah. So just to basically add to the previous question, actually, we also are deploying edge cloud in addition to our the regional clouds. In fact, we have deployed 5 edge clouds on smart green edge data centers, just to see that the data can be processed at the edge location with the CDN type of infrastructure there. On the multi-channel, right now, the work is in progress. We have not integrated. We have basically teams who are handling this various customer experiences, customer requests through various channels. And right now, the entire customer like life cycle management. We are looking at basically to integrate that thing further in a seamless manner across multiple channels. Because each channel is right now is working separately, and there's a less of correlation which is currently available. So we are looking to develop that going forward, because as the number of customers are increasing, the task also, the work which is being done partly through systems, partly through manual process, has to be completely automated, and so that we can um, the duplications and all we can eliminate, and through a single a particular call from the customer can be answered in a comprehensive manner, rather than doing it through a different same thing handling through different channels. So that is one area where we are looking at. Definitely going forward, maybe in a year's time, we were trying to see what different solutions are available, because we had certain solutions in the marketplace, but then we found that there were some gaps in most of these solutions, and we are still working to see that if any solution which can bring together through API integrations, the existing as well as the new services, rather than we want to basically use what we have and add more integrations to that, and then bring on a common platform. So with that in mind, we are trying to see if we can bring those seamless experience for the customer, rather than having disparate channels as of today.
Interesting. So what you're saying is that Adarsh Call will reach out through multiple channels to RailTel, but in a year's time, it'll land across as the same Adarsh Call, complaining about his singular problem. It'll not be four Adarsh calls. So that's the final vision that you have across from a CX perspective. That actually makes a lot of sense for us, considering that you offer the most important thing right now to the world, which is internet. This brings to my last question, actually, Prasad. Uh, how did you manage during the COVID pandemic? Now, while a lot of us work from home, you guys are actually on ground, enabling the work from home. You are the guys who are actually delivering the internet, which kind of made all of this possible. This product right now is riding on internet, and at the end of the day, you were the last mile. Of course, I understand that you were working with MSOs and LCOs to do that, but how did you manage during the COVID pandemic? What were the sudden shifts that you did across in your operating style, in the business style, and how did you manage the entire churn from a perspective of work from home vis-a-vis to work from office or on ground? And that's first part of my question. My second part of the question out on the same one is that you guys deal with uh, data and the security of data and the fact this thing that the employees working from home. How did you actually look at the monitoring part of it from an employee perspective, as well as how did you manage the entire uh, data protection and the security of customer records, et cetera, et cetera? So those are the two sets of questions that I have from a perspective of how did you actually scale up during the COVID times?
So during the COVID time, basically, by just before the COVID, we have cloud infrastructure ready, and we had mm, certain applications deployed in the cloud. So cloud really helped us to leverage, or to say, the provide these services across all the remote workers, and enable them to work from home. So we first thing was that we, within a span of 48 hours, we created SSL and IPsec VPNs for our close to around 50,000 different customers and our own employees. We also enabled them WebRTC, and through a cloud offering with WebRTC, and integrating that with our telepresence system, um, so that we can have online meetings. In fact, in a span of in the from the lockdown period till December of 2020, March 24th or 23rd to December 2020, railway alone did close to 90 lakh minutes of online meetings. So that was the scale, and we were able to scale. We had close to 1,000 hosts, and each host can support around 1,000 users, 250. Practically, 1,000 users is theoretical limit, but practically 100 to 200 users were using it. A lot of training institutes were using our webinar and other services on that to continue, because um, the employees, they can attend the programs from their workplace or from their home rather than coming to training institutes. The railways have a large system of training programs because we deal with safety, and there are courses which are mandatory to be done within a, let's say, every quarter or every 6 months or every year, to give them the competency certificate or something like a license, what we say, to and that is a requirement from the railway side. Coming to our own employees, we had initially, to our data center and other things, we managed to keep them closer to facilities so that some key people can be staying closer to facilities so that we can handle any emergencies. And I can say that with great pride that we were able to offer 100% uptime during that period without any breakdown. Definitely, there was issues at the remote end. So what we did is we started doing basically through WhatsApp channels and through our other channels. We started asking the end users, giving them do-it-yourself (DIY) type of support, so that they can actually check. And we were able to take remote and also support them to for some of the customers. Definitely, a partner network. We trained our partners and their engineers so that they can also provide similar support. So it took some time, especially for the retail broadband business. But then we using our teams at the same time, supplementing the partners team where a partner was having issues. We were able to overcome those challenges. Coming to the data security and data privacy part, since we deployed secure SSL VPN services, and we also have the complete micro segmentation of data center with endpoint protection, endpoint EDR. We are able to manage the end devices, which basically were on internet. Earlier, the same devices were, since working from office, they had this secure MPLS VPN network. But when people have moved to their homes, they're working from homes, they have to be protected against the various vulnerabilities which is there in the internet system. Definitely, we follow the backup 3-2-1 policy of backup. Backup becomes very important, especially the ransomware attacks were on the rise. We also saw a lot of attacks coming from China and Iran and North Korea at that time. So we have put geotagging and geofencing so that those IPs can be blocked, which are coming from in our IPS IDS system. We also have integrated all this security systems, and we have a SOC operations where we could scale that SOC to monitor and to see the events which are of concern and take correlate those events and take corrective actions. So backup of keeping the 3-2-1 backup, 3 copies and then 2 different sites, and again 1 offline. So that also was important for us because there are critical applications, and that is how we build the edge cloud, so that we can keep between the DC and DR the third site or fourth site where we can keep the offline backups there.
Wow. So this is a different paradigm altogether. While I understand that a lot of us did work from home, but getting cyber attacks across from different countries and kind of geotagging and geoprotecting those IPs is absolutely new. Yeah? This is definitely something is of a very different league. Thank you, Mr. Prasad. Absolutely wonderful insight in how you run your business from a tech perspective. Madhuri, over to you. Thanks again, Prasad, for doing this.
Um,
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prasad, once again for sharing this really wonderful insights with us and also for our viewers. And thank you, Adarsh, for moderating the entire session once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Madhuri.